Sir, yeah, so can you hear me now?
Yeah. Can I start?
Okay, sir. So I'll just make an introduction, sir, and we start then.
Perfect. That's fine.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Uh, Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Indian Chamber of Commerce, I welcome you all to the ninth edition of India Minerals and Metals Forum. We have got a huge response over the last 8 years in the past, but this year, due to this COVID crisis, we have to do it on the web platform. But however, we have received similar kind of support from you, like we have received in the past. So, on this note, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Mr. P.K. Malik, Honorable Minister of Steel and Mines, Government of Orissa, Mr. A.K. Shukla, CMD, Hindustan Copper Limited, Mr. V.S.G. Bhale, MD of Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals Limited, Mr. V.R. Sharma, Managing Director of JSPL, Mr. P.K. Rath, CMD Vizag Steel, Mr. Brij Bhushan Agarwal, Chairman of the ICC National Expert Committee on Minerals and Metals, Mr. M.C. Thomas, Chairman ICC Odisha State Council, and Dr. Rajiv Singh, Director General of Indian Chamber of Commerce. And now I would request Mr. Brij Bhushan Agarwal to kindly make the opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Very, very good morning. Pranam, namaskar to everybody, and thank you for spending some time for such a great conference. Good morning. On the behalf of Indian Chamber of Commerce, I would welcome you all to the ICCE conference, Indian Metal and Forum. It is my pleasure to welcome Shri P.K. Malik, Honorable Minister of Steel and Mines, Government of Odisha, Mr. P.K. Rath, Chairman and Managing Director, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam, Mr. A.K. Shukla, CMD, Hindustan Copper, Mr. Vikash Sitaram Chibhale, Managing Director, Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals Limited, in this e-conference on the 9th Mineral and Metal Forum. As we all know, that country is endowed with a huge resource of many metallic and non-metallic minerals. Mining sector is very, very important segment for the growth of Indian economy. However, the late moderate global economic growth in the recent month has emerged a major bane for the global industry, especially in the metal sector. In India, mining business would continue to be uncertain and face a problem in the near future. This is because of uncertainty in regulatory regime, declining global commodity price, and lot of concern on the changing economy and the crisis which we are facing right now. The Indian mining industry contributes 3% and steel sector is contributing nearly 2% of the GDP, employing more than 15 lakhs people. Rapid rise in steel prices has resulted India become the fourth largest producer of crude steel, the largest producer of sponge iron in the world. At the same time, non-ferrous metal industry is bracing for the challenge such as rapid capacity of the input minerals, developing indigenous technological expertise and cost reduction. At present, aluminium is the fastest growing non-ferrous metal and its production volume is next only to steel. Domestically, the demand and the consumption of the aluminium projected to rise about 3 million ton by 2017 from 1.71 million ton as of now. By 2030, aluminium consumption growth will be by China and India. Also, copper accounts for third in the consumption after steel and aluminium. India is also among the top 5 zinc mining countries globally. So, what we see, India has a very uh, the metal and mineral sector has a very high contribution to the Indian economy, and it's very, very important for the growth, and it is for the and it contributes a major contribution to the economy. For global player, India is big market for minerals resources as a metal and power demand expected to grow robust in the long term with 130 billion populations and the demand has to grow. If you see the per capita consumption of the steel in India is uh, not even average. It is much below average. So we see a lot of development happening in the future. A lot of consumption will increase and it will boost this sector. But I'm very, very optimistic. Within India, Odisha emerged as a key state in regard to the mineral and metal industry. At 40%, it was 40.7% in 2018. Odisha contributed largest share of mineral production in India in the terms of value. Value of mineral produced in the state reached around 4.28 billion in 2018-19. So it's very important. Odisha is abundant with minerals. It has a beautiful port. It has a very good connectivity, very good infrastructure. You beat ferrous, non-ferrous, everything is like in Odisha. Carbon is it's rich in carbon. Lot of coal is there, iron ore is there, manganese is there, bauxite is there. So it's a very, very important potential state for the country. In the first state in India to have undertaken the reforms, restructuring initiative, power sector, the first attracted FDI inflow worth US 605 million during 2000 and March 2020, according to the data released by the Government of Industry and Internal Trade. Odisha has well-developed social, physical infrastructure and undertaken several infrastructural projects. The COVID-19 has disrupted operational globally. Moreover, the new normal that will emerge is to witness the realignment of power center in different domain. The coronavirus has impacted almost all supply chain dependent on China, which includes the steel sector. Given the closure of operation in most industries, the national steel demand in 2020-2021 is slated to fall by 15%. This will lead oversupply, suppressed prices, rising inventory once the lockdown is lifted. This inventory will mainly compromise intermediate or semi-steel use by downstream players whose units are currently closed because of the lockdown. As a result, the coious cycle of the created where the prices will remain depressed until there is a major uplift in demand or the size of inventory volume is offloaded. Even after the lockdown is lifted, most likely to in phases, the steel sector will continue confronting sustained challenges on account of the labor shortages, hampered logistic movement. The national-wide lockdown is unprecedented test for every sector, including steel. In the past few days, hordes of migrant workers have been returning to their hometown after the harrowing time they faced by weeks during the lockdown. Most are unlikely to return. As companies seek to ramp up the production for making up the lost time, shortfall in the human resource will hinder such goals. But this represents one of the myriad challenges. With the monsoon around corner, it will impede the industry faster return to normalcy. The biggest barrier, however, is collapse of the demand from the various industries, as most of the consumer have postponed this, their spending. This is muted demand in all the industries, barring essential goods, groceries, FMCG. Be in white metal, capital goods, automobile, every sector is suffering. Under such circumstances, it is up to the government to boost the infrastructure investment in the country. This can become a key driver for the Indian eventual economic recovery. Such infrastructure projects need to be fast tracked by the steel sector to stabilize the operation after the demand slumps. Again, the grim backdrop, major measures are required to ensure industry survive in the short term shocks due to the shock of pandemic. Since country are now wary about depending solely on the supply chain, locally the single region, and often roadmaps are needed for transforming India into a significant steel manufacturing hub. This is ongoing scenario of disrupted steel supply. Many countries are presently more receptive to the idea of manufacturing in India. So we see there is a lot of challenges. Everything is looking uncertain, but steel is an essential commodity, and it has to have a robust demand. The demand is going to increase, and we all have to be optimistic for the improvement of time will come, and we have to face this challenge and also have to learn how to take the precautions, I would say. With this, I would request the panelists to share their views on this subject. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the welcome remarks. And now I would request Mr. P.K. Rath, CMD Vizag Steel, to kindly address. Actually, he has to join another meeting, so we would request you to address first, sir. Over to Mr. P.K. Rath.
I think I am audible to all of you.
Yes, sir, you are.
A very good morning to all of you. The Honorable Minister of Steel and Mines, Government of Odisha, Sri P.K. Malik Sahib, Sri A.K. Sukla, CMD, Hindustan Copper Limited, Sri Vikas Ji Bhale, Managing Director, Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals Limited, Sri V.R. Sharma, Managing Director, JSPL, and Sri Brij Bhushan Agrawal, Chairman, ICC National Expert Committee on Minerals and Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. The coronavirus pandemic has radically changed the demand for products and services in every sector, while exposing points of weaknesses and susceptibility in global supply chains and service networks. At the same time, it has been striking how well and how fast many companies have adapted, achieving new levels of visibility, agility, productivity, and end customer connectivity. The virus has also shown that when companies align around a common purpose, we can survive the goal and achieve our goals that would have been considered impossible before the crisis. This is a time of constant change and extreme uncertainty. No industry is immune. No industry is immune is to the effect of this pandemic, and all are grappling with the very varying degree of severity and complexity. Mining and metal companies are none the exception. The operations in these companies require workforce to work in certain closed chambers or in close proximity, and this increases the exposure and the propagation of this disease. The mining and metal industry has to do things differently, such as the more amount of digitization, the more amount of automation, and talking about the industry 4, that is the buzzword, probably is a requirement for this industry. Coming to the steel industry in India, the spread of COVID-19 has impacted the production, demand, and supply of steel to such an extent that if you consider the statistics now from April to July, there is a contraction of around 36% of the output and 48% on consumption front. The World Steel Association has forecast that steel demand will contract by around 6.4% for the 2020 financial year and is expected to recover by 3.8% only in 2021. Having said this, except China, where steel demand is expected to increase by around 1%, which shows a little bit of a sign of a revival in our country, like exporting our steel and sustaining ourselves on the production front. The recovery will be mostly driven by the government stimulus, and the government has been doing this, and it has initiated a 20 lakh crore stimulus package to bring back the economy on course for a 5 trillion economy that we are aiming for 2024. This also included structural reforms in coal and mining sector. I am sure the reforms will lead to a self-reliant India through maximizing and optimizing of our natural resources. Also, implementation of big ticket infrastructural projects as announced earlier by the government will help in improving steel demand, and Indian mills also will see a long-term opportunity in establishing manufacturing, keeping in view the government initiative Purbodaya, which is establishing an accelerated development in the eastern India, that is, most of it is in Odisha. In the immediate future, the survival strategy of all the steel plants is to focus on cost reduction, improving utilization and margins, and improving the process efficiencies and yields. The steel industry is looking and increasing the usage of low-cost iron ore, that is such as slime and iron ore of lower Fe content, and increasing the usage of Indian coking coals or the cheaper substitutes in the coal blends. So certain policy interventions also would like to have at this point of time to see the steel industry to boom back, to bounce back. That is customs duty and cess on metallurgical coal reduction, dedicated freight corridor for steel and other bulk materials, and introducing again the MEIS, which has been put on abeyance by the ministry. Steel industry is a great economy multiplier, as we all aware of, and it always gives that 1.4% to GDP. And also for every 2 jobs in the steel sector, 13 more jobs, and the jobs are supposed are created throughout its supply and chain. Therefore, it is imperative that the steel industry bounces back to its past glory in the quickest time possible. The V-shaped recovery of the economy has already started. The auto sector, we see some changes in the auto sector, which is now has started moving up, and the labors, the contractual labors, which probably had gone back, they are returning to the work field. Hence, there is going to be a surge in the construction sector also. So, keeping all that in view, I am of the opinion that it will certainly bounce back in the third quarter of this financial year. The steel industry has to bounce back and it will certainly make a way for this achieving this 5 trillion target, economy target of the government. And I am very sure steel, which is probably the material that is non-replaceable by other materials like aluminum, copper, or whatever. The products export, the research is going on for different materials to substitute steel. But steel is a supreme, and it is going to stay in the market. And certainly the different steps that we talked about, or I talked about, the government has to take those initiatives that the steel industry bounce back, put it back on the track. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for making such positive remarks. I think it really motivates everyone. And now I would request Mr. Riyash Sharma, Managing Director of JSPL, to kindly make his address.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, good morning, everybody. Good morning to Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. P.K. Malik, Mr. Shuklaji, Vikas Sitaramji, and Shri Bhushan Agarwalji, our chairman. So most of the points have been covered by Agarwal Sahab and by Mr. Rath. I would like to inform, and I would like to highlight that the pandemic, of course, it has disturbed the whole economy. But there are certain areas where we are finding a sea of relief. We have seen that in last July, in the last month of July, 87,000 crores of GST has been collected. This is a very positive sign. Now the steel consumption has increased in the country. The prices are also going up. That there is overall stability. There are 2 things which I would like to highlight. Number one, I would like to request Government of India as possible with lifeline to the country. The people, those who have migrated back to their hometowns and now the MSMEs, owners, the industrialists, they are bringing them either by trucks or by trains or by some other means. So they are facing a very big hardship. Most of the country is now flooded with water. Neither they have work at home states, and nor they can reach to their in rest of the country. So this is a very serious matter. The other area opened immediately, that should be hotel industry. So the hotel industry is, dying industry now. So unless we start the hotel industry, the people will not start the movement. Now the people are unable to move from one city to another city. They become the business people because the hotels are not available, and that's a big hardship people have been facing. The corona, we have to live with the corona, and now it is very obvious, like the metro cities like Delhi and Hyderabad, Bangalore, part of Bombay, They are full of rush today on the streets, and everybody is working. But the only problem is the labor is unable to come back to the factories, and to the construction sites. So we have also requested Government of India. We have requested Indian Railway to look into this matter and to start the Indian rails as fast as possible. The next point here I would like to highlight that today the country has generated 3678 million units in the month of July, as against of 3,652 million units in the month of July 2019. So this shows that the power consumption has increased. So there is one reform what the country needs to do, that is the tariff should be similar throughout the nation. So Honorable Prime Minister and the Cabinet should ponder upon this particular request of the industry, that one Bharat, one tariff should be our motto, so that industrialization right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari can take place and on each and every corner of the country if the power is available. Today we are unable to start the electric arc furnaces in the areas where the electricity is not available, because the power cost is going 10 rupees to 12 rupees per kilowatt hour. So I think one tariff, one Bharat should be the motto. Throughout the country, the power should be available at 3 rupees 50 paisa per kWh, which is very reasonable power tariff. And for that, the Coal India will have to bring, or will have to supply coal at a price of about 40 paisa per megacal. At the moment, the Coal India is supplying right from 55 to 65 paisa per megacal, which needs to be brought down to 40 to 45 paisa per megacal as a coal cost. The another area which is hurting the industry is the rating agencies. Because today, if some company is rated AA or A or AAA plus, vis-a-vis the another company is rated as B or BB or BBB or BBB minus, the rate of interest, differential rate of interest charged by banks is exorbitant. They are charging 3% to 4% additional interest on the companies whose rating is BBB, as against of AAA or AA. This is something very ridiculous. We do not understand that why this gap should be. The loan is extended or the finance is extended to a company on the basis of its merit, not on the basis of the rating. So why there should be any difference? Even if there has to be any difference, should not be more than 0.5% per annum. Why the difference should be 4%, 5% per annum? This means the hand holding of the industry, which needs a bigger support, that is not existing. And the banks, they know that these companies are going to fail. And that's why they are charging them 3 to 4% additional interest rate. So this is something is a big anomaly in the system. Banks has should not have any criteria of rating. Either they should finance only AAA rating or AA rating or AA rating companies, and they should not finance B rating or BBB rating companies. If they are financing them, then the rate of interest should not be different. Maximum as a notional difference can be 0.5%, should not be more than 0.5%. While they are taking money from the depositors, so there is no difference whether the depositor is depositing 1,000 rupees in bank or he is depositing 10 crore rupees in bank. The rate of interest is same. So why the rate of interest is not same when they are lending the money to the industry? So this is a big anomaly in the country. I think all of us through Chamber of Commerce, Indian Chamber of Commerce, through various government agencies, we have to raise this voice so that the monopolistic behavior of the bankers, that should be ironed out, and the interest rate should be charged either equal across the industry or maximum is a notional gap of 0.5% as a delta. So these are my suggestions to the Chamber of Commerce and to all of the participants, those who are listening. I think we jointly can work together, and we can definitely discuss with the Government of India and the Indian banking industry that so much of difference should never be there. It looks that banks have taken the insurance by charging the 3 to 4% or 5% of additional interest rate from a company. So I'm not advocating that the interest rate should be 4% or 3%, or it should be labor plus 0.5%, or it should be labor. No, the interest rate can be any. It can be 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, it does not matter. But what matters is that in a same industry, one company is getting rate of interest 7%, the other is being charged 10% or 10.5%. So these are the areas which are to be looked into, is my suggestion. Then Government of India has done a good job of declaring a lot of initiatives for Atmanirbhar Bharat. So steel industry is getting benefit out of it. And we are very confident that under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, the country will come out of the current situation. MSMEs are coming up very fast. The steel industry is also coming up very fast. I'm sure the negative outlook shown by many of the rating agencies will be washed away very soon. The quarter 2 is doing well. Quarter 3 will be better than quarter 2, and of course quarter 4 will be the best quarter what we are contemplating now. And I feel the coal prices will go down after 2050, and it is the right opportunity for Coal India and Government of India to apply this coal. They should do the maximum extraction of coal from the mines, and they should try to provide this coal to the citizens of the country through electricity. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma. Always a pleasure listening to you, sir. Mr. Vikas Sitaram Bhale, MD of Rajasthan State Mines and Mineral, he has got an important meeting, so he may not be able to join this forum. Now I would request Mr. A.K. Shukla. The meeting. Mr. A.K. Shukla.
मैंने म्यूट कर दिया, स्टॉप भी कर दिया। मैं जाऊं? हाँ, ठीक है, कोई गलत नहीं है। हमारे पीछे लगे किसी। हेलो। रेटिंग वाले का।
Hello.
Hello.
Mr. Shukla is joining in a few minutes because due to some urgency, he's speaking to the.
Yeah, may I ask you how long he will take? Because Honorable Minister is already in the panel.
10 minutes. Next speaker he can be.
Okay, so then we would request our chief guest today to make his address first. May I request Shri P.K. Malik, Honorable Minister of Steel and Mines, Government of Odisha, to kindly address us.
Good morning to all of you. And at the outset,
am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Namaskar to all.
Namaskar, sir.
Friends, at the outset, I would like to thank the Indian Chambers of Commerce for organizing this e-conference in the midst of global outbreak of COVID-19. The outcome of this discussion in the seminar will help the policymakers to take appropriate steps to strengthen our mining and steel sector, transform India economy into $5 trillion by 2024 and 25, and the target of steel production of 300 million tons by 2030 and 31. At the outset, regarding Odisha, you know, Odisha is a mineral-rich state with the abundant resources of iron ore, coal, bromite, and other minerals. State government has been providing support for development of mineral-based industries through adoption of appropriate policies. Because of indigenous availability of high-grade iron ore, the critical input for steel making, Odisha has a competitive advantage for production of steel. From the installed capacity of about 4 billion tons per annum of a crude steel in the year 1999 to 200. The state of Odisha has, as of now, 47 steel industries with a total capacity of around 33 million ton per annum, which is about 1/4 of the. Hello, am I not audible? Am I audible? Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You're
Yeah,
audible.
you are audible.
The in the state have an installed capacity of about 20 million tons in 2070. And by says increase in per capita steel consumption from the present level of 70 kg to 158 kg by 2030. State is contribute substantially this national target. And in fact, greenfield steel product projects together with the 33 million ton per annum plant proposed by JSW have been giving approval in Tata Steel Kalinganagar is going for enhancement of in second phase of the expansion from the 3 million ton to 8 million ton, and Raurkela Steel plant is also likely to go for capacity expansion for 4-5 million ton to 10 million ton by 2031. State has several initiatives facilitate the industry. We have introduced the piece of long-term linkage of the iron ore, chrome ore, and to state-based industries of Odisha through Odisha Mining Corporation Limited. In fact, over the last 5 years, allotment of iron ore under this policy is about 40 million tons and 4 million tons of bromide. Must be our 24 numbers of working minerals, mines of iron, manganese, and chromite in the 30 March 2020, which were contributing substantially to the state's mineral production. We have relaxed the provision for rules permitting industry to get of raw materials ahead of supply. Contributed about 58 million tons of iron ore last year, almost half of the state's annual production. Besides manganese, might, as well as we have successfully conducted the blocks, and of these auction blocks, already 18 of the supply. The mines with the validity on 31st March 2020, which are working at the below the authorized, have been advised to scale up the production. Instructions have been issued to the status of the non-working mines so as to facilitate resumption of a mining operation as per law. To mining blocks up to the desired level of exploration so as to facilitate more auctions. Exploration have been enhanced by outsourcing the drilling works. Besides getting Odisha Mining Exploration Corporation a state PSU designated as exploration agency along with the OMC to carry out exploration work in lines similar to the GSI Director of Geology and MCL, MECL, etc. These agency carry out exploration work without grant of a prospecting license. As on 31st July 2020, over 90% of iron ore based industry in the state have resumed their operation besides mining activity in 7% of major mineral mines which were initially closed down on account of a nationwide lockdown because of a COVID-19 pandemic. In spite of expiry of these lease on 31st March 2020, which contributed almost half the iron ore production in the previous year, the production of iron ore has picked up in the current year, with the production being over 26 million tons so far, and a dispatch of over 45 million tons, which even includes liquidation of the existing stock by ex-lessees of the 24 number of expired leases. With the commencement of mining operation by the new lessees, the position is destined to improve further. Though production of crude steel in the country in 2019-20 has gone down compared to the previous year, but in our state, the production has shown increase through marginal Odisha production about 19%, 50 million tons against country's production of about 110 million tons. With the aforesaid positive developments, we are quite hopeful that the mining sector together with the steel sector would emerge strong in the days come. Thank you all.
Sir, I think there is an issue with the audio.
Is there any audio problem?
Yeah, now you're audible again, sir.
You could not heard all the speech.
No, sir, we could hear you. On these certain parts we missed out. In the last 1 minute, maybe. Now you're audible.
The production of steel in the country in 2019 and 20 has gone down compared to the previous year, but in our state, the production has shown increase through marginal we about 19.50 million tons against country's production of about 110 million tons. With positive developments, we are quite hopeful that the mining sector together with the steel sector will emerge strong in the days to come. Thanks.
Yes, sir, but your voice is breaking. Hello.
Can I speak again?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Comments upon mining operation by the new the to improve further crude in the country in 2019 and 20 have now compared to the previous year, but in our state have shown increase 19.50 million tons against production of about 10 million tons. We for developments. We are quite hopeful that mining sector will be strong in the days to come. So,
Hello.
is there any problem? Am I not audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible now.
I completed my speech.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your speech. It was really informative. And now I will request Mr. A.K. Shukla, I think he has joined, CMD of Hindustan Copper, to kindly address. Mr. Shukla?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Come on.
You are audible.
Okay, good morning to all of you. Our chief guest of today's webinar, Honorable Minister, Mr. Prafull Kumar Malik Sahab. You have given a very enlightened speech, and you have covered almost all the points related to mining sector. And I'm very happy that Odisha is the only state which is doing very well in the field of mining and exploration. India has got a good potential of the minerals available with the country. And for making steel, we are having all the raw materials with us. But the only thing is that we are not able to exploit it properly. We are importing coal for our steel plant. When we are thinking for achieving the high target of 300 million ton of steel to be produced by 2030-31, we have to work hard in the field of other raw materials also. We have to get washed coking coal from our mines, and iron ore mining should also be increased in a big way. My concern is that when we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, Atmanirbhar country, Make in India and smart city and all, we have to concentrate on our resources only, so that the final product should also be made in India only, and we don't have to buy from outside. The effect of this pandemic, we are seeing that we have to go for webinars. We cannot meet physically in person, and many of the things are happening in such a way that it is giving impact on our economy. The impact of coronavirus pandemic on our economic growth is significant. This is also true for global economy also. Mine development as well as mining production schedules has been delayed considerably and has disbalanced the financial balance sheets all over. This will take several months to come back on right track. The pandemic is likely to derail the near-term outlook by interrupting daily activity transportation, putting further downward pressure on commodity prices, disrupting tightly linked regional and international supply chain, and decreasing demand for exports from the country. Magnitudes is still uncertain. Achievement of all the economic target predictions will depend on how the outbreak evolves in the coming months. There are trade-offs between the health benefits of policies to slow down the spread of the disease and the economic costs of these actions. The debate on lives versus livelihoods slowly meandering towards a new normal from Jaan hai to Jahan hai to Jaan bhi or Jahan bhi. Industry has started working for bringing better times by adopting right strategies, newer standard operating procedures, and a different business model. The mining industry in India, being the primary supplier of raw materials to the manufacturing sector, has a critical role to play for leading the resurgence of the economy post the lockdown, as well as to achieve the vision of Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. In the new normal situation, social distancing and sanitization are the mandates. These gives rise to both challenges and opportunities for the mining and steel sector. In the new normal situation, social distancing is a challenge, and for the small scale operations which are more labor intensive, the challenges is of maintaining the scale of operations with lesser manpower. Thus, requirement is to adopt mechanization of these operations with lesser dependence on manpower for operations. I feel that those days have gone when we were only dependent upon the labor force of our country. We have to go for automation as well as artificial intelligence, and where the less manpower is involved. On the other hand, the mechanized operations of larger mines, where generally solitary HEMM operator is entrusted with a machine, the challenge would be to maintain proper sanitization of the working places and ensuring social distancing during transportation of employees. Immediate implementation with various state-of-art technologies will be required for distant and digital monitoring and supervision, along with arrangements of continuously reskilling of people to remain relevant for the times. And for all this, immediate investment in the requirement of the time. Requirements of time to deal with the challenging situation and achieve targets is right strategic moves by the mining and steel sector, incentives from government to ensure liquidity in the sector, facilitating indigenization of equipments, protecting it from cheaper imports and incentivizing exports. Tax concessions for the companies as well as the individuals, especially HNI, moratorium on payment of loan installments, lowering of interest of bank loan, easy flow of fund for industries, etc., at least for the next few years, can only bring back the mining industry to the right track. Support from Government of India has already extended in various aspects. Example, moratorium on payment of loan installments, reverse inverted duty structure of GST, extension of tax submission dates, etc. There is a silver lining for mining amidst the dark clouds of COVID. In the new post-pandemic and normal situation, demands for minerals and mining would be certain. Opportunity of attaining global standards of hygienic environment and workplace, resulting in higher individual productivity. Mechanization and digitization will be increased productivity and efficiency. Overall, this situation provides the actual launchpad for the Indian mining and steel industry to zoom into the future of more mechanized, sanitized, and digitalized operation post COVID-19. Let us all work into that direction, and by this way, we can come out of this poor situation which we are facing, the mining industry and steel sector is facing due to this pandemic. Because after all these efforts taken by the government, by the industry, I hope that will come over to it, and in coming months, in a year or so, we will again attain our new heights in production and productivity, as well as some innovative ideas will also come out so that the labor intensive mining industry will go for high mechanization and automation. This way, it's an opportunity also to sit and think over that. My feeling is that during this period, we can concentrate ourselves in exploration of the minerals. More and more drilling should be taken up because these took place in the remote places where not much interaction between the people is there. So I feel that all the planning should be done during this period when we are not able to put all our labor forces for giving production and productivity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your speech. And now I would request the participants, because I don't see any questions in the question box. If you have any question, you can just type it in the question box. Our speakers will be happy to answer to all your queries. You can just raise your hand so that we can unmute you. You can directly ask the questions to the speakers. I think, so there are no questions. I think the speeches have already covered it all. So there are no questions from the participant side. So I would request Mr. M.C. Thomas, Chairman of the ICC Odisha State Council, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Nilanjan. As we come to the end of the session, I would like to thank all the dignitaries for taking their valuable time to participate in this e-conference. The session was very engaging and informative. On behalf of ICC, I would like to thank Honorable Minister Prafulla Kumar Malik, Honorable Minister for Steel and Mines, Government of Orissa, for his insights and for kindly agreeing to be the chief guest in this event. I also express our gratitude to Mr. P.K. Rath, Chairman and Managing Director, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited, Mr. A.K. Shukla, Chairman and Managing Director, Hindustan Copper Limited, Mr. Vikash Sitaram G. Bhale, Managing Director, Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals Limited, Mr. V.R. Sharma, MD, JSPL, in this e-conference on 9th India Metals and Minerals and Metals Forum. Your insights have been very valuable and experiences that could help the participants in getting new perspectives. Most of you have covered the point of Atmanirbhar Bharat, supported by the mining and metal companies. The forum will also provide opportunities for policymakers to take note of the key suggestions made by various industry leaders. COVID-19 has been an unprecedented blow to the mining and metals industry, especially steel. Industry has been, all industries have taken exceptional steps to quickly change the business models, find new ways of managing and also looking after the health and well-being of employees. Thanks to the governments in the state and central, the steel industry was listed as an essential commodity and also the supporting mining activities, which permitted the operations during lockdown. Steel manufacturers are looking, all of us are looking at ways to tide over these troubled times, mainly focusing on liquidity and cash flows in the near term. Many of the steel companies have leveraged also the China demand growth in the Q1 by promptly reorienting their exports towards that direction. A revival of economy means revival of mining and steel industry. The government should provide for wider and deeper support for development of various projects, especially the infrastructure project, to drive consumption in the country, which will help all of the businesses to produce and supply and hence start the process rolling. There should also be, this is also a time, as Minister mentioned, to focus on exploration of new blocks, because that will also help us to bring these blocks to auction and then subsequent production in the near future. Mining sector has also seen several reforms in the past. And we also seen recently two major things, which is one was a successful auction of most of the mining blocks which expired in 2020 March, especially by Orissa, and also a very landmark decision by the Government of India for granting vesting orders to all the new lessees, which allowed the previous lessees clearances to be passed on to the new ones for a period of 2 years, which allowed them to start operations in a very short period of time. The major changes happened in the coal block auction also, which has just got underway. And I'm sure there would be more participation and investments in that area coming. Going forward, I think more reforms are required to restore competitiveness of the Indian manufacturing sector. And we are really hoping that we come out of this crisis in next couple of months. With this, I would like to also thank all the dignitaries. A special thanks to all our sponsors. Thank you thank you for your support for organizing this event. SMC Power, Rajasthan State Mines and Minerals, Shyam Steel, WBSEDCL, JSW, Visa Group, RINL, Balco, Orissa Mining Corporation, Naval Ignite, Dassault, Amalgam Steel, and all the participants and friends from the media. My compliments to ICC for getting the 9th India Minerals and Metals Forum organized in an electronic form. And thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank all the speakers. So with this, we will close the session now, and our next session, which is on raw material supply scenario and trade policy and effect of COVID-19 on national and international trade, it will start from 2 p.m. today. Thank you so much once again.